I think we all understand that none of our goals are going to happen overnight. The only way we achieve them is by us staying consistent over a long period of time. The best way to ensure that we stay disciplined? By implementing the 2-day rule. We may miss, skip, or take a day off, but we may never miss back-to-back days. Lessons that I've learned from applying this rule: number 1, small wins are rocket fuel. By focusing on what I can do today, it is easier for me to show up to do the actual work. Number 2, pick up where you left off. Giving ourselves the ability to take a day off when needed allows us to take rest when it is necessary and not feel guilty about it. And number 3, remind yourself of where you started. Seeing how much progress we made since we started gives us an extra boost of confidence that we do have what it takes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to It's the Bearded Man podcast with your favorite, the world's favorite bearded man. Give it up for the man, the myth, the legend, the bearded man, Bobby. Maybe not a legend yet, but the history books will write it down as the greatest bearded man to ever walk the land. Episode 67, we in the building. Welcome back to the best podcast, the most slept out podcast in the world with your truly, Bobby. So happy you guys and gals are back. 67, that means we're 3 away from 70. That's right, I can count. Growing this podcast brick by brick, baby. Let's go. Super excited about today's episode. 2-day rule. Never miss back-to-back days in a row, and we're going to dive into it. Is there a new habit you've been trying to implement, but you aren't seeing the progress you'd hope for? Maybe there's a New Year's resolution to work out more, to eat a cleaner diet, or start that passion project you've always wanted to start. I think we all understand that no goal of ours is going to happen overnight. But yet it comes from us consistently showing up over a short, medium, or long period of time, depending on what that goal might be. Today, I want to introduce to you beautiful guys and gals the 2-day rule. This rule will help you stay accountable and make sure that you are making some progress over a period of time. I get it. Some days aren't our days, and we need to take a break, we need to rest, we need to kick back and relax and smell the roses. I get it. So take it when you need it. But at the end of the day, the only way we will ever make progress is by showing up and putting in that work. To quote Barack Obama, 44th President of the United States of America. I'm reading his book right now, and I read this quote today, and I figure, perfect time to add it right into the pod tonight, baby. He said, "I've trained myself to take the long view about how important it is to stay focused on your goals rather than getting hung up on the daily ups and downs." So with that quote in mind, who is ready to make some progress today? Keep that quote in the back of your head. Let's get into it today, ladies and gentlemen. When it comes to my fitness life, I never miss 2 days in a row. If you follow me on Instagram, you're probably like, why in the world is this guy posting on his IG story every single day? Is he trying to be a podcaster, or is he thinking he is going to be the next fitness superstar? I promise you, my goal is not to become a fitness star. I solely document the behind the scenes of my life, and fitness is one of the most important aspects of my life. And I have seen a lot of upside to sharing out the day-to-day grind of my life. And so I promise you, I'm not trying to be a fitness guy, but I like showing the behind the scenes of my life. And when it comes to working out, I never miss 2 days in a row. When it comes to eating healthy, a healthy lifestyle, I should say, I never cheat 2 days in a row. Now, if you've been, like I said, following me on IG, just got back from a nice little vacay in Charleston, surprising my sister for her 25th birthday. We had to let that one slide. But in most cases, over a long period of time, I do not cheat more than 2 days in a row. Got to throw that out there in case somebody out there is listening and calls me out. I was like, yo, this beater man's full of shit. I just saw him eating and drinking his ass off. Well, hey, we can cheat. We can let it slip here and there. But over, like I said, a long period of time, I'm making sure that I'm sticking to the plan. When it comes to releasing podcasts on a weekly basis, I never miss recording 2 episodes a week. I can say that with pride that since we've really got this podcast rolling since July of 2020, you're talking 7-8 months later, we've consistently put out 2 episodes a week. That's one with a guest and that's one solo. And the only time we didn't do that was a 2-week break through Christmas and the holidays. So I'm pretty pumped to say that consistently we've been really pushing a lot of content. And I guess what am I trying to say with laying out, the workout doesn't miss every other day of working out, or doesn't miss the healthy dieting or the podcast. This podcast is not all about me. Just I can only pull from my experiences and use it as credibility to, this is me speaking from experience. What I'm trying to say is I'm extremely disciplined with a capital D. It's really, it's kind of anal how disciplined I am for some of those out there that probably watch or see me from afar. But I appreciate this skill so much that I fortunately have gotten really, really good at over a period of time. And why is this important? Because discipline is the key ingredient to achieving our goals. Our goals are unachievable, unattainable, if we don't have just a little amount of discipline. And a couple of years ago, I was introduced to this 2-day rule concept. This isn't pulled out of my beard. This isn't true beard wisdom, although it is, but it isn't. I cannot claim that I came up with this concept or rule. And I don't even think Matt D'Avella, the man I learned this from, I forget who he even accredited it to, but I heard this in a video he had made 2 years ago. Matt D'Avella, for some context, is a filmmaker. He's a minimalist personal development creator on YouTube, and he also is the creator behind the Minimalist documentary on Netflix. There's 2 of them on there. Highly suggest checking out both of them. And he did a clip about how he used this for working out. He never misses 2 days in a row, but he always gives himself that day off if he needs it. He just can't have 2 days off in a row. Would I say Matt's disciplined? Absolutely. Probably one of the best that I've ever come across. Did Matt come out the womb disciplined, or did I? Absolutely not. I think I can speak on both of our behalfs. It took consistent effort over an extended period of time. And needless to say, if we could do it, so can you guys and gals. This lifestyle of this 2-day rule where I never miss 2 days in a row, depending on what it is within my life, so crucial, but I didn't just wake up and I was just naturally doing this. It took time. It took repetition. It took me skipping some days to realize the importance of staying consistent and staying disciplined, that I realized, this is the key ingredient. As a matter of fact, this is the key ingredient that I've seen in every single successful person that I've ever interviewed. From every industry, from every background, from every walk of life, the key ingredient, regardless of what their goals were or are, was discipline of showing up and consistently showing up. They go hand in hand. Discipline and consistency, hand in hand. So why am I recording this podcast today? You're probably like, Bearded Man, what are we doing here? I hit play, but a couple minutes in, I'm asking myself, hey, what am I doing here? It's a great question. First off, I know people struggle with staying disciplined, and I genuinely want to help people through this podcast. I've had conversations with people where they scratch their head and like, yo, I always see you working out. You never miss a day. Or, my sister cracks jokes and she's like, you're up before me getting after it, working out, and I'm 3 hours ahead of you. She lives in Charleston, South Carolina. I live in LA. There's 3-hour time difference, and I'm still getting up at the ass crack of dawn before she even rolled out of bed. No disrespect to Captain Liz if she hears this, but I think it's hilarious. Anywho, I want to help people. And I hope that some of the things we talk about today there can be that one little nugget, one little gem that it just tweaks your mindset. It inspires you, or it makes you realize like, oh, I never looked at it like this. And then secondly, part of the reason I do these podcasts on top of, I joke, this is my therapy session. Totally love these moments. I'm far, far, far from the master. Okay. I still have a lot to learn. And by doing these podcasts, just recording this, I'm bound to learn something or see something from a different lens that kind of clicks in my head. And I'm like, wait, I never even thought of it like that. Or it could just be something when I'm replaying the episode back. I'm like, man, I never knew I actually knew what I was talking about. This is interesting. Bearded Man, keep doing this damn podcast, baby. So this is what I call a win-win. Hopefully shed some bearded wisdom to all you out there listening, and hopefully I can learn from it. At the end of the day, that's why I keep doing these podcasts, because I genuinely still create for the person that was graduating college in 2016, didn't know what he wanted to do after college, and had a big question mark. I'm still creating for myself, the younger version of myself at 22, having no clue what I wanted to do, and that's still what fuels me, because if I was in that shoes, there's got to be other people that are out there that are in those similar shoes. And so hopefully you guys and gals are enjoying it. 67 episodes in, like I said, 0% chance I'm stopping anytime soon. So that means, honestly, if you're here listening now, I'd get the popcorn ready. Maybe get yourself a nice little beverage, get a little extra butter on top of that popcorn, maybe even a little dessert. Ben & Jerry's would be my preference. But sit back and relax, because I'm only just getting started, baby. I'm only just getting started. So we're going to keep cooking on up. But before we keep on cooking on up, little favor during this podcast, if you enjoy it at any moment in time, this is all that I ask. Please screenshot this episode, post it to your IG story, tag me at Bobae, three B's, 4 A's and a Y. Share it out on your IG story and tell the world what you enjoyed about this episode. Helps us organically grow this episode brick by brick, one episode at a time. And if you really want, you can leave a iTunes review on the Apple Podcasts app, or there's a million ways you guys and gals can support. And I really appreciate anyone that does. Screenshot it and share it out on your story, because that's what I like to call OG. Not original gangster, organic growth. It's a key hack right there. Cool. Let's dive into it. 2-day rule. Since implementing the 2-day rule into my life, I don't feel so guilty when I need to take a day off. There's not this anxiousness in me, except recently I've been trying to re-strengthen my leg, because I thought it was a bright idea to run a half marathon on a casual Saturday a couple weekends ago. Your boy's been paying for it. But needless to say, that's been different, because I've had to give myself more days off than regularly. But in general, I don't mind taking the day off when I need it, because I've built this rule into my life where I go, I'll take today off, but I'm damn well getting back on the horse tomorrow. And like I was saying, because of this rule, I just know that I'll pick right back up where I left off tomorrow. It's all I need to remember. It's all I need to worry about. Hey, sit back, relax, get back to it tomorrow. So I want to dive into some of the biggest realizations, lessons I've learned from applying this rule into different areas of my life. Gave a call out to, working out and the dieting. That's very health and fitness, as well as, podcasting. This is a personal project. I really think this concept and mindset can be used in pretty much many different areas of your life, depending on where you find it applicable, and depending on what are your priorities right now. Maybe you're like, shit, I got to go on a bunch of dates. I need to go throw myself out there. Well, you better line yourself up a date every other day. You know what I'm saying? I bet you can do it. You can do it. I got confidence in you. But I really do believe this can be used across the board. Number 1, small wins are rocket fuel. By focusing on what I can do today, it's easier for me to show up to do the actual work. If I think about all the work that it may take to get to my goal, I may not ever show up because of what's in front of me to get there. It can be very anxious. It can be very overwhelming when I'm like, damn, how am I going to get to a place where I have like a full studio, I have multiple camera people, I have a show producer, I have a really sick set. Oh my God, I'm never going to make it there. It's like, slow down, bearded man. No. What can you do today? You can record this episode. It's going to get you one step closer. So like I'm saying, when instead of focusing on thinking about all the work that's going to need to get done to get me to this fantasy destination, I think about, what can I do today to improve myself in every bucket of my life? The 30-minute run that I went on this morning, that'll help me reach my fitness goals. Cool, I did that. The one meal at a time that can help me reach my diet goals, great. All I do from breakfast, lunch, to snacks in between, I just assess, is this good for my diet? Is this helping me reach the healthy lifestyle that I want to live, which is really clean and really good for my body? Yes? Okay, then I should eat this. Or 3, like I was saying, one podcast at a time. This one pod right now that you're listening to, this is all I'm focused on. I'm not worried about the podcast I have scheduled tomorrow. I'm not worried about the one I did last week or the ones I need to do in the coming weeks. All I'm focused on right now is this podcast because this is the only thing that I can control. And by doing so, by just focusing on today, these small wins, it makes doing the work all that much more easier because you're not letting your mind go somewhere else. You're just focused on the now, the moment. So the small progress that we make daily needs to be our rocket fuel for the engine. You're all rockets, okay? Whether you believe it or not, you got a rocket inside you. You're ready to take off and go big. All these little wins today, tomorrow, and the day after that, they're all helping us get closer and closer to our goals. So in the moment, they may feel like nothing, but you better believe that they're helping us get to this bigger picture. We got to enjoy these little steps every single day and recognize it as just fuel to the fire. So remind yourself on the days that when you do show up, any amount of progress that you make is better than none. Some days you're going to feel like you made a ton of progress. Some days you might feel like shit because you're like, damn, that was a wasted day. It's okay. We all have those days. Pat yourself on the back for putting in any effort towards your goal because that's a win. By you just showing up in of itself is a win. We all sometimes forget that because we're so focused on these goals that we want to achieve but literally 99% of the people out there won't even attempt to do the work. You're part of the 1% that's actually showing up and doing it, and that's a win. So pat yourself on the back. Focus on what is in front of you right now, in this moment, okay? This podcast comes out on a Thursday. You might be listening to this on a Monday, on a Tuesday, on a Saturday, on a Sunday night. It does not matter when you're listening to this, but let this be the reminder of all you need to focus on is right now. Add this fuel to the fire. The rocket is just getting ready to take off. All systems clear, Houston. Let's ride. And with that, a little H2O break. You feel me? Chug on 3. 1, 2, 3. Some of the best water coming straight out of Venice, California. Shit. I am cooked. Number 2. Pick up where you left off. Another great lesson takeaway. As I was saying before, giving ourselves the ability to take a day off when needed allows us to take rest when it's necessary, okay? Been there, done that, the whole wake up, grind, go to sleep, wake up, grind, go to sleep, 6 hours of sleep, 5 hours of sleep. I get it. Been there, done that. We all have to go through our burnouts, I think, sometimes when you're trying to build something great, you're trying to do something great. But when we give ourselves the ability to take a day off when it's necessary, it allows us to feel okay with missing a day if we're not motivated or we don't have the time to do X because our day's a little cray-cray. We're okay with it. We're accepting of it. When we need that day off, we give it to ourselves without feeling guilty. Why? Because we can pick up right where we left off tomorrow or the day after that. Accepting this ahead of time is crucial because otherwise there's going to be times when you take that day off and you feel guilty the entire day because you, quote unquote, didn't make any progress. When sometimes the greatest progress you can make is doing nothing because it's recharging your battery. It's allowing you to come back to the work sharper with a better headspace no matter what you do. So it's really, really important. 4+ years in the podcast game, and I'll tell you right now, I feel a lot less anxious about making progress as I did in day one of summer of 2016. When I was first starting off, I not only needed to prove to the world that I had what it took to do these podcasts, but more importantly, I needed to prove to myself. I needed to show myself that I had the ability to deliver consistent weekly podcast content. I had this grand vision of what I was going to create and all these amazing guests I was going to meet. And I had to prove it to, like I said, myself and the world. And so, man, I just wanted to keep producing and producing and producing. Even much still, the fire inside me still is wanting to produce. But back then, it was so much harder because I was like, I've only had five podcasts out. Now I have 10. Now I have 15. Now it's a lot different because I've done this over 200 times. So it's far from the master. Still got a lot to learn, but I feel a lot more confident. And I knew I wasn't going to be great at first, but I also recognized that the only way to get better was by doing the actual work. So now, with it being so many years into the craft, I understand that there is still a lot of room for improvement, but because of the time that I've put into it, I don't feel so bad about taking the day off when it's needed. Because I know that over a long period of time, I will consistently show up enough to make sure that I maintain my podcast release schedule, which is 2 podcasts a week. So in the beginning, it can be very anxious. It can be very overwhelming because all you want to do is bring this vision to life. But as you stay consistent over a long period of time, whether it's working out, whether it's working on a passion project, whatever it might be, you start to let that kind of be, I don't want to say sit in you because you're still hungry and wanting to do the thing, but you're not so worried about delivering on the results. You are worried about delivering the results. You're not worried about actually doing the work as much as you did on day one because you know that you've been consistently doing this for so long. So similarly with your personal goals, it takes time to get the results that you want. So embrace it. Don't stress yourself out about wishing you had made more progress by now. Don't compare where you're at today to where someone else might be. Simply take all the emotions that are running through your body, vision that finish line and end goal, and get back to work when you're ready. When we live by this 2-day rule and we need a day off, we're completely okay with taking it because we know we'll pick up right where we left off tomorrow. So when you need it, take the day off, come back refreshed, come back energized, and don't feel like you're behind the ball. It's you versus you at the end of the day. Don't worry about where everyone else is. Don't worry about the progress other people are making. Focus on yourself. Number 3, remind yourself of where you started. This is good. I'm a big believer of focusing on the present moment and where you are today, like we talked about. But I think this is a way to reignite the flame when you need it the most. So the problem with being a go-getter, having big aspirational goals, is that we are so caught up in moving forward. The goalpost continues to move, right? Once we get to one goal, we're on to the next, and then we're on to the next, and then we're on to the next. There's no time for us to look back. We're doing what we have to do today that helps us get to where we want to be tomorrow, which is ahead, and then we do it again and again and again. If this sounds like you, please keep that pedal to the metal because this is a winner's mindset, to continuously want to go more, wanting to get to one destination and on to the next. It's good to have. It's a good trait or mindset to have. But however, I think it is extremely important to slow down every once in a while, look back to where you started, and see how much progress you've made, because that can give us that extra boost of confidence that we do have what it takes. It also puts everything into perspective because where we are today is somewhere that we dreamed of being 2 years ago, right? Literally a year and a half ago, I was driving Uber full-time, working on a podcast project, and I couldn't wait to be doing this full-time. Now I'm in a position where I'm working for an amazing company. I'm working in the podcast space, and I started a new project, and this is like incredible to me. But of course, in my mind, there's always bigger goals. There's always other things I want to do. I want to keep pushing. I want to keep growing. I want to take this to the highest level possible. But when I stop, and anytime that I get anxious or I'm like frustrated about trying to, plan 6 moves ahead, all I have to do to remind myself is go, bearded man, look at where you came from. You were the world's favorite Uber driver, and no longer do you have to slay the streets. That's why I put 19,002 on the back of my arm to never forget what it took for me to get to where I am today. So I'm not saying this is something that we should do on a daily or weekly basis, but more so on a needed basis. When the 2-day rule still doesn't seem to be helping us, where we need a day off every other day, so we show up and then we need the day off, and then we show up and we need the day off, and now we're starting to abuse the 2-day rule because we want to keep giving ourselves days off. This is when we need to stop. We need to reflect. We need to use that to get the fire inside of us reignited, and then we got to get back on track. And for any of those out there that do feel like they're in that slump from time to time, I want to give you another quote of tonight. Big quotes tonight. Never in my podcast will I ever have quotes, but these two resonated. Bill Gates once said, most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. One more time from Bill Gates. That was weird how I said that. Bill Gates. Most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. Don't get overwhelmed about where you are today. Look back at where you started to where you are and think about where you want to go in the future. Stick to the plan. Keep making daily progress, but remind yourself of where you were and who you were when you first stepped into the ring, because I guarantee you, you are in a much better position than when you had started, which means that if you've made progress getting you to where you are now, there's a good chance you're going to keep making progress moving forward so long as you stay consistent. To recap, I think we all understand that none of our goals are going to happen overnight. The only way we achieve them is by us staying consistent over a long period of time. The best way to ensure that we stay disciplined? By implementing the 2-day rule. We may never miss, skip, or take a day off, but let me say that again. We may miss, skip, or take a day off, but we may never miss back-to-back days. Lessons that I've learned from applying this rule. Number 1, small wins are rocket fuel. By focusing on what I can do today, it is easier for me to show up to do the actual work. Number 2, pick up where you left off. Giving ourselves the ability to take a day off when needed allows us to take rest when it is necessary and not feel guilty about it. And number 3, remind yourself of where you started. Seeing how much progress we made since we started gives us an extra boost of confidence that we do have what it takes. My challenge for you, beautiful guys and gals listening today. Start today and incorporate the 2-day rule into areas of your life that it is applicable. You will hold yourself accountable to get the work done by using this rule, and you will begin to see more progress over a shorter period of time, because instead of prolonging and pushing off and procrastinating to do the thing you want to get better at or want to incorporate into your life, you now have no excuse, because that means that every other day you're going to have to make some type of progress. Seems like a pretty good deal to me, doesn't it? Sign up today. There's literally no form. Just start today. 2-day rule. Apply it. Questions from the BMC. That's the Bearded Man community. For those that are listening for the first time, welcome. You're now part of the community. There's no fee. There's no nothing. You're just now part of the community. Kristopher Avilla. How to regain motivation. This is a good one. Couple things that I do to regain motivation. Go for a quick 15, 20-minute walk. Just getting up, moving around my body helps tremendously since I sit down for most of my day. Sometimes I will literally throw a dance party in my room by myself where I'll put on my headphones, I'll put on some Drake, I'll put on any music that I've been listening to that gets the blood flowing, and I'll literally dance in my bedroom by myself. A cup of coffee or some type of caffeine will reboost that. Similarly, like I talked about earlier, thinking about where I came from to where I am, that helps me get motivated. Listening to podcasts, listening to other people's stories of what it took for them to get to where they are today, and thinking how I can incorporate those lessons into my life. And then I'd say lastly, just doing the gratitude journal. That's huge in the morning. It kind of carries the motivation throughout the day and just grounding me and reminding myself of where I am and where all the things I should be, thankful for. But I think even part 2 of the last thing I would say is just constantly reminding yourself of who you want to become and thinking about what you can do today that will help you get a little bit closer. That'll be that rocket fuel to get you to that person you envision yourself of becoming. So those are a couple tips, takeaways, Kristopher. I hope that helps. And I think it's just a game of figuring out what works best for you. Lloyd Dorward. Shout out to Lloyd, by the way. I know I joked in the beginning of the podcast how I post these IG stories of me, working out every morning. And come to find out last week through Lloyd, long story short, I post you win the morning, you win the day. It's part of like my branding and part of just a philosophy that I live by, and something that Lloyd had gravitated towards and started sharing out on his Instagram story, and now has a whole community of people that are doing this, posting it to their story, tagging him, putting the time that, they're up getting after it. And I just love to see it. So shout out to Lloyd for, just rocking with me. This is, it's awesome to see something like that, just the domino effect. He said, how to stay focused while working from home. Yeah, let's go. And Lloyd, honestly, it kind of goes off of what I was just saying. Like, the getting up and walking around I think every hour on the dot, I need to get up, whether it's just go grab some water, grab some food, or whatever it might be, or then go for the walk in the middle of the day. And then I think it's just like looking at the day in 1 hour sprints. What do you want to work on for the next hour? Okay, tackle it. And then also too, just like understanding that our moods are different throughout the day. Maybe you're more creative in the morning and you're more analytical in the afternoon, or vice versa. I think it's just understanding like what works for you, depending on the time of day, and just breaking up your day into 1 hour chunks. I think that's really helpful. And the fitness, I know you're already on that. You're on that wave. So I think it's just a game. And it's also creating a space that allows you to work efficiently. I'm somebody that needs to be sitting at a desk. I can't be sitting on the couch. I need cleanness. I need, very minimalist. I have books. I have candles. I have great lighting. I have plants. All those little things help create the headspace that allows me to stay motivated and allows me to work from home efficiently. So those are a couple tips. I hope they're helpful, Lloyd. Last question coming in from Momma Hobert, my mother. How do you stay so positive and focused? Well, it's because of you, Mom. You and Dad taught me many lessons that I can't give you enough credit for. But this is a good one. The positive thing, I think it's just, it's been a work in progress over the years of just trying to build my brand and name and consistently doing it. And so with time, it's just a little bit of, getting some wins here, getting some wins there. It's allowed me to remind myself of my own confidence, my own inner ability. So that's helped me stay so positive. Another aspect of that is just like understanding that I think meditation has taught me that there is no upside of being negative, that to always look for the positive in life. It sounds so cliche, but it just changes your perspective, which then changes your energy, which then changes like what you put out there to the world and who you portray. I think that's been incredible. That's been incredibly helpful. So I think positive is just the only option. So I try to just only push positivity because I don't see anything good coming from me pushing negativity. And focus-wise, just being really disciplined and breaking down my day, knowing what I'm supposed to be doing and when. It can seem pretty little extra that every single minute of my day, I know pretty much where I'll be, what I'll be doing. Like I eat the same meals at the same time of day. I work out at the same time of day. I record these solo podcasts usually at the same day, same time of day. Yeah, I have my life so scheduled out that I know where I'm supposed to be and when, and so that there's no question of a doubt of like, do I want to record this podcast tonight? It's like, nope, this is when it is on my schedule, and so I know when 6 o'clock hits and I'm done working with Liquid IV for the day, it's time to start cooking up these podcasts. So I hope that was helpful, Mom. I don't know if you're going to hear this, but I think that's a great question. Love you, Mom. That's it. If you guys and gals enjoyed today's podcast, please screenshot this episode, post it to your IG story, and tag me how you plan to use the 2-day rule in your own life. I think it's really important. I think it's a great rule of thumb. I think it's a great way to hold yourself accountable to putting in the work in areas of your life that you want to put more effort into. And so I think it's applicable to anything, whether you want to pick up a guitar, play video games more, go on more dates, like I said earlier, live a healthier lifestyle, whatever it might be. I think this 2-day rule is applicable to any area of your life. So please let me know what you guys think of this episode. Screenshot it, share it to your IG story, tag me at Bob A, B-O, 3 B's, 4 A's, and a Y, and let me know. If there's any topics you guys and gals would like me to cover next, hit me up. I'm always down for it. Got plenty more podcasts coming, so any feedback on topics you'd like me to cover, so much appreciated. But I hope you enjoyed episode 67. We got plenty more content on the way. It's the Bearded Man Podcast. See ya.